Now, in the last video, we set up Nginx as our reverse proxy for Jellyfin. Now we're taking it up to the next level, integrating Cloudflare Tunnel, also issuing SSL certs and setting up automatic renewal of those certificates. So let's get to it. All right, now before we order our certs, we have to install another application, and this is where we get into Cloudflare. And I'll show you guys how to download this application right fast. Now switch back over to my browser, and what we're gonna do is open up a new tab, and I'll show you guys how to find it right fast. So all you have to do is type GitHub, and then we could type Cloudflare, and let's search for that. And this will take us to our Cloudflare page. They have an application called Cloudflared, and this is what we need right here. It's written in Go, and I'll have the link down in the description of the video on how to actually get to it. But this is how you set up a tunnel on Cloudflare. So this is only for people that are using Cloudflare. You need to install this in order to get around port 80 being blocked by your ISP. A lot of times, most ISPs, they block port 80 because they don't want people hosting websites from their home address, which I don't understand why. I think back in the day, they used to have like issues with people setting up sites with malware and all that stuff, and they wanted to prevent that. Only legitimate businesses could host a website from IP address, and so they didn't want regular users to be doing the same thing. But now this gets around that. So unless they can block a tunnel, which they can't, it's encrypted, you can use this to get around your ISP, not allowing you to host websites at your house. Now if you scroll down a little bit, they have instructions on how to actually set it up, so you guys can actually download it. There is a dashboard where you can set up the tunnel. You have to go under Zero Trust. I'm not going to log into my account. I'll have the link to this as well, so you guys can find it and set it up either this way, or you can set it up from the command line, which I'm going to show you guys how to do that right now. So let's switch back over to our terminal, and I already have the link to actually download Cloudflared. So I'm gonna download the dev package, and you guys can find that. Just search for it. It's out there. It's on GitHub, and you can download that package and then install Cloudflare. Especially if you're on Debian based or Ubuntu based, then you can install it using the dev package. So let's go sudo apt install, and then all you have to do is type -y and then // find a dev package and press enter. So it all depends on where you downloaded it, and you can download this and install it just like this. Oh yeah, and I've ran into this issue before, so all we have to do is move the package to a different location. We can move it to our temp directory. So let's go sudo move, and then let's find that Cloudflare file. So cloudflare.dev, and we can move it to our temp directory. So let's go temp, and then put / and press enter. That'll move it over there, and then we can run it from our temp directory instead of running from our home directory, and that should work. And then sometimes we may have to adjust the permissions. We'll see. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. But temp, and then we want to install this cloudflare.dev package, and it looks like it installed on our system, or it's already installed. It says permissions denied, so I assumed it didn't install, but it looks like it may have installed. Yeah, it did. The following new package installed. And yeah, I should have looked at the notes a little closer, but yeah, it's already installed on the system. But if you run into an issue where it's not installed, and you can run which Cloudflare with a D and press enter, and you'll see it. It's under user local bin Cloudflare, so it is installed on the system. But I remember in the past I had to move it in order to get it installed. I had to move it under the temp directory, which is, it's an easy solution, so you don't have to really worry about it. But let's go down it and set up our tunnel. So let's go Cloudflared, and what you want to do is run tunnel login, and this will allow you to log into your account. And you guys probably won't see this, but it should pop up a link for us to get to our dashboard. Oh, there we go. So please open the following URL to log into your Cloudflare account. And so let's switch back over to the web, and I probably should have just went in here and showed you guys. So I got to log into my account very fast. I was trying to avoid that. I thought you could do it from the command line. I thought I remember doing it from the command line, or maybe it was just a setup of the configuration is from the command line. I don't know, but I'll be right back after I log in. What's up, y'all? If you've been watching my channel for a minute, you already know I stay talking about Linux. And if you're looking for a solid, reliable enterprise Linux distro, let me put you on to Rocky Linux. This is the go-to replacement for CentOS, and it's built for the community by the community. It's got everything you need for a stable and secure Linux experience, whether you're running servers, home labs, or enterprise workloads. And the best part, it's backed by CIQ, making sure it stays rock solid for the long haul. So if you're tired of these companies pulling a plug on your favorite distros, Rocky Linux is where you need to be. And I've covered Rocky Linux before, and trust me, it's worth checking out. So head over to rockylinux.org to learn more and get started. Keep it techie. Peace. All right, and so when you go to this link, it'll ask you what domain you want to select. You can authorize a Cloudflare Tunnel, and what I'm gonna do is use my KeepItTechie.com, and that will set up our cert file. And let me show you guys that when we switch back over. As you can see right there, it says success. Cloudflare has installed a certificate allowing your origin to create a tunnel on this zone. And so you have to be logged in order to do that, and then or log into your account in order to do that. And then if we switch back over to our terminal, you guys will see that it was waiting for me to log in. Once I logged in from that link, and it has to be that link, it will copy down this cert to your system. Is stored under home. Cloudflare is a hidden folder, and then cert.pem. Now with that cert installed, we can go ahead and create our tunnel. And so all you have to do is use the Cloudflare command. Yeah, and this is the port I remember you get set up using a terminal. So Cloudflare and then tunnel, and then create, and you can name it whatever you want. I'm gonna just put KeepItTechie. That way I can find it and delete it after this. I'm gonna put -proxy, and it's like a temporary proxy. And then let's go down and press enter. This will create our tunnel for us and also give us our ID. And as you can see, under our hidden directory, under our home directory, there is our credentials, and they're stored in a JSON file. And so it will choose this each time it connects to just verify the connection and all that good stuff. But let's go on and configure our routes right fast. So what you want to do is, I like to keep everything organized, and you'll see this in the documentation. I like to follow documentation. I'm gonna make the directory under my etc directory for Cloudflare, and this is for our configuration file. And I'll show you guys how to set this up right fast in order for your tunnel to work, because you have to have this configuration file set up. So under etc Cloudflare, we're gonna create that directory for us and press enter. That'll create our directory, and what we want to do is create a file under there. So sudo nano, and actually let's use a T command. Let's just copy this right here, because I got a lot of this stuff already written out. I'm already taking too much time, and I basically wrote the tunnel to the file, to the actual file. It points to my tunnel JSON, and actually we have to grab that and put it in there. So and what it's saying is under root, but it's actually not. It's stored at this location. That's why you want to make sure you know where this is, so you can paste it into your configuration file. And so I just wanted to create it, and then we can go into it. We can go sudo nano, and then we can go under our etc Cloudflare, and we want to look at our configuration file. So config.yaml, and it's in the YAML format. Let's go down and modify our credentials file location, because it's stored under our home directory. So let's go down and switch that up and paste that in there. So that's our credentials file, and this is the host name. So jelly.keepitechie.com, and then the services, we want to go add on and change this to our location where our Jellyfin server is actually set up at. The IP address is 10.10.0.1112, and let's put a period in there so we can make sure we get to it. And you also don't need 443. We need our internal IP address. That way it's pointing to the actual service. And then we want to put our port, which is 8096. And let's go down and save this right fast and exit out. But that is our configuration file for Cloudflare. All right, so let me switch back over to the website, because I want to show you guys something. So once you log into your Cloudflare account, I just want to show you guys, you go to Zero Trust, and then under either network, click tunnels, and this will show your tunnels. And so right now, this is that tunnel we just created. And we click under here. I just want to kind of show you guys how to configure it a little bit if you need to, but just click on configure. You can also delete the tunnel, which is what I'm going to do exactly after this video. I'm not going to have this domain up anymore. When you set it up on the server, it doesn't allow you to manage it from up here. So that's fine, but you can migrate it up here if you need to. And that just will allow you to manage it from Cloudflare. And so anyway, that's how you get to the tunnels. You can actually create a new tunnel. If you want to, I can go back in here and you can create a new tunnel. It all depends on what you're using it for. You can set up one however you need to use it for. Name it something just to keep it standardized, and then we're good. And then also another thing, what you want to do is, and that's one thing I haven't done, which is set up the subdomain. What you want to do with that is go into your DNS records and go down and create a new record, and you want to create that record as a CNAME. So CNAME, and then you want to specify what it is. So we're going to name it Jelly, and all we have to do is type Jelly. That's fine. And then under here, and this is where we have to put our target. That way Cloudflare knows where to route the traffic to this tunnel specifically. And if we switch back over to our terminal right fast, just want to show you guys this. If you look up in here, this is our actual tunnel. So what we need to do is paste that into our target. And so let's switch back over to the website and drop this in there, and we can leave it on proxy, which is fine. And we can save that, and that will save that connection for Jelly, KeepItTechie.com. And so right now we can't go to it because the tunnel is not up. So switch back over to the terminal and let's finish out setting up the tunnel. And if we scroll down here, all we have to do is type Cloudflare Tunnel, and then we need to go route DNS. And then we want to set it for our KeepItTechie -proxy. That's why the name is important, or at least you understand what the name is. And then we want to specify jelly.keepittechie.com. And you want to specify that. And let's just make sure we typed everything in correctly. So Cloudflare, and I might have to type sudo, I don't know. Yeah, it looks like, and also it's looking for the record, so it may not see the record yet. It might be what's causing the issue. Let's actually go up here and run it using sudo. I know for my other tunnel I had to run sudo in order for it to, yeah, it can't find a tunnel right now, and sometimes it pays to read the logs. I didn't have to wait, I just need to specify that cert that we saved on our system. Let's go down and find that. I know exactly where it is, but you basically have to, you could just drop this variable in. You can create a variable, environment variable, or you could drop it in the actual command. I'm gonna just drop it in the actual command. Let's go sudo, and then actually let me take sudo off because I don't even think you need sudo from what I remember. And then maybe the documentation I'm looking at, it may be thinking you're running it from root. So let's run our tunnel. So Cloudflare Tunnel, and then -- origin certs, and then we need to specify that cert. So it's under our home directory, and then .cloudflared, and then our cert.pem, and then route DNS. Yeah, and then that should work for us. I gotta run, it failed to create the record. We don't need to create the record because I already created the record. Maybe that's something I need to do. I need to go down and delete that record and let it create it this way, because I forgot that's the way I set it up when I set up the tunnel from Cloudflare and not from the command line. So I'm gonna delete that. I know you guys can't see it, but let me switch back over. But I deleted that record because that's what this command is supposed to do. So let's go back to the terminal and let's create that record right fast with that cert. So it should create it. Yeah, there we go. So we got that tunnel, and it's the tunnel ID. So this was the tunnel ID. We didn't need to put the name behind it. Actually, let's switch back over to our browser and refresh the page. Let's see if we can find it. Let's see if it's there. What was it called? Jelly? There we go. So Jelly is proxied and everything. So that's what happens when you actually create it from the command line. It'll put all that information in there for you. So CNAME, Jelly, and don't you remember I just did it all manually? You don't have to do that. You can run it from the command line. It will put it in your account that way. All right, let's switch back over to the terminal and let's finish this thing out. So what I'm gonna do is enable the service, because you want Cloudflare to run whenever the system boots up. And I forgot, you have to create your configuration file. So let me get that command first. And like I said, I have a list of these commands, but you have to install a systemd. It's a command that allows you to do it. Like I said, you can follow along with my commands I give you. So create that configuration file or the service that we need, and now we can enable the service, and we can actually check the status of the service as well right fast. I don't know, I don't think we have to start it, but should be started. Yeah, it's active and started, enabled. So whenever you reboot, it'll connect back to the tunnel. So it's registered to the tunnel, it's connected, all that good stuff. And so we should be able to go to our Jellyfin server just by typing in jelly KeepItTechie.com, and this normally is pretty fast. So let me open up a new tab and just type jelly keep, and I forgot I need to put HTTP, so HTTPS. And actually, yeah, we don't have a cert installed on it, but I'll show you guys that in a second. So KeepItTechie KeepItTechie.com, and it should allow us to get to it. Oh, it won't. That's fine. But at least it's hitting Cloudflare server now. We get to go with at least that. So it's just not going through. We need to put a cert on the server or on the actual domain right fast. So let me walk you guys through that process right fast. All right, so let's go down and create our certificate right fast for jelly.keepitechie.com. I already had the command written out, so I'll just go down and show it to you guys. But sudo certbot nginx -d, and then we specify our domain. That's what the -d is for. And then --email, that's the email address associated with the cert that you want to create for this domain. So let's go and press enter. This should go through and connect to Cloudflare. It may have some issues, which that's what it looks like we're seeing right now. Yeah, the plugin is not working, and we're gonna have an issue with that. So we gotta take our SSL. I keep forgetting about that. Let's just go down and take our SSL out of that configuration file for Jelly. So let's go sudo nano. Then under our etc directory, we can go to Nginx, and then let's go to Jelly, and then let's go to sites available, and then we want to go to our jelly.conf, and let's go down and comment all of this out. You know what? And let's go delete, get rid of all that, leave our location, save, exit, and then let's test again. Should work now. Yeah, boom, there we go. So we got our configuration file working for jelly.conf, and now let's go down and try to go down and request a cert. All right, let me go down and try one more thing. Let's switch over to our browser. If I don't get this working, I'm not gonna put the video up, but I think if we go under Jelly, we need to turn this proxy off right here because it's not using our normal DNS for the server. That's why I can't find the actual domain. That eventually that proxy will work. It just takes too much time, and since I'm recording this video and I just made this change, it's gonna take a little time. So let's try to run the certbot again, actually run a curl again. Let's see, bad gateway again. Let's just try to run certbot and see what happens. Since it's on proxy only, some challenges failed. Certificate authority failed to verify temporary Nginx configuration changes made by the certbot, and it doesn't need an A record for that. I don't know why it's saying that, but all right, let me try one more way and hopefully this works. But this is the way I've ran it on my other servers, using just getting the cert only. If you look in here, and if this is the correct way of doing it, I'm gonna run it this way, and it may not work because I don't have Cloudflare API. I don't think. We'll see. Let's run it and see what happens. By default, so it's missing those credentials, that API credentials, and from what they look like, I may need to just run a couple of updates. And I apologize, guys. It never takes this long, and this is why I've always avoided this video, because you run into so many problems when it comes to proxy servers, and like I've never had a single experience where everything just worked right away. So I'm gonna find that way though, and I'm gonna put it in my article so you guys can follow that at least. Let's try to install this Python DNS Cloudflare to the system. Let's see, Python 3, and then Certbot, and then this is DNS. We're gonna add our DNS here, and then it's Cloudflare. So let's go down and get that installed on our system, and then we should be able to check and see if the plugin is there. All right, so let's type Certbot, and then we want to check the plugins, and this will just let us know if that DNS plugin is there. Let's see. So we got our Nginx plugin, authenticator. Let's see, standalone, web roots, DNS Cloudflare. There we go. So we got that stored on our system, and we should be able to point to it now when we run the command. So let's press up arrow, and actually, one more thing I forgot. We got to create the secrets for our DNS Cloudflare. First off, I'm gonna just copy the commands because I had to end up looking some of this up. So I know one thing you got to do is add your API key into a file under roots, and let me show you guys this. So let's go sudo nano, and then under our roots directory, we need to create a folder called secrets, and then under that folder, we need to create a Cloudflare file, and this is mainly for just connecting to that DNS server in order to get our certs. And so let's go on and get into that file, and I'm not going to show you what I'm putting in here. I'm gonna just put the beginning, because this is all you need really, is boom, and then you want to put your API key. I'm not going to show you mine at all. I'm gonna pull it from another system. I'm gonna put it in there on pause so you guys don't see it, but all you have to do is put your token in there, and then I'll show you how to lock it down. But I'll be back in a sec. All right, now your Cloudflare API key is very important, so you want to lock it down. I'm gonna delete mine after this, but I recommend you run like a couple commands like sudo chmod, and then let's go 600, and then on that root directory, and then .secrets, and then that Cloudflare.ini file. You want to lock that totally down, man. I'm gonna leave it the way it is right now because I just want to make sure this thing works for us. But let's go down and run our Certbot again. This is the last time. If it doesn't work, I'm not gonna do it again. And I might need to put my other email in here. Nah, I should be fine with that. Press enter. Unsafe permissions. See, it's gonna tell you right there. That's another thing. It's gonna tell you right there that you don't have the permissions. You know what I'm saying? So you want to make sure that you set those permissions there. Those credentials are very important, because if somebody get a hold of your Cloudflare API key, they can do whatever. You know what I'm saying? They have access to whatever that API key has access to. And I totally forgot that I had to use Cloudflare's DNS application in order to connect to their servers, and for it to actually find their servers, Certbot to actually find their servers and create a cert for my systems. And just so you guys know, I put a wait in there, so DNS Cloudflare propagation by second, so 60 seconds. And the reason I put that in there, because sometimes it fails, it doesn't work all the time, you know what I'm saying? And the default time, it'll time out before it actually gets to the DNS server. So just want to let you guys know that. Now this is the location of our certs. So as you can see, our key is saved at private key, and then our full chain, our certificate is stored right there. So you want to copy that, because that's going to be needed in our configuration for Nginx. And man, I wish I would have set some of this stuff up ahead of time, but I wanted to show you guys how to do all this stuff from scratch. But anyway, I'm over talking. So let's go back under our configuration. So let's type sudo, and then nano, and then etc, and then Nginx, and then we want to go under our sites available, and then we want to check out our jelly.conf. Press enter, and we want to modify this so it'll go through port 443. And let me go down and find my long configuration file that I showed you guys that will set up the server properly. And I always put the internal ports so I can always access it locally if I need to. Now let's go down and clear this, and then let's go down and pop in our configuration. And it looks like the name may have changed for our certs. No, they should be right. So SSL certificate stored under jelly.keepitechie.com, and then full chain. And then we got our private key under the same location. So etc let's encrypt live. Yes, so it's stored in that same location. And one thing we need to do is modify our IP addresses, because I keep forgetting that I changed it. So this one is 112, that Jellyfin server 112. And let's go ahead on and save, exit. And now let's run our test and update of our Nginx configurations. There we go. So sudo Nginx-t, and then at sudo systemctl reload Nginx. So let's press enter. I should check and see. It says test failed. Map derivative is not allowed in our configuration. All right, so I corrected that, and I forgot to record while I was doing it. But basically what I did was I went into our configuration file and I made a few changes in here. There was a map setting or a configuration in here. I just removed it because it's not needed, and then I created a global map configuration for it. So let's go ahead and close that out. And then once I ran our check, test, and reload, everything worked from there. Now the moment of truth. Now let's go over to our browser again, and what we're gonna do is open up a new tab, and then let's paste in our URL and go to it, and boom, there we go. We are good to go. That took forever, but we are good to go. Now if you look up here, you'll see that we do have a connection that is secure. So we do have a cert and everything for this thing. So certificate is valid. Let's click there. Boom. That way you guys can see exactly what's there. So we got a cert for jelly.keepitechie.com. Ignore the organization and the organization units, but common name, organization, Let's Encrypt. So it's issued by Let's Encrypt. And with Let's Encrypt, they're gonna give you like a couple months, 3 months or so. Like you can see this is October or August, but it auto renews if you set that up. And actually, Let me show you guys how to set that up right fast as well. And I might split this video up so you guys can just look at both of them back to back. And so let's switch back over to the terminal, and then by default, Ubuntu 24.04 installs Certbot with systemd timers by default. So you have to search for timers. Let me show you guys that right fast. So let's go systemctl and then list dash timers, and then we could grep for Certbot just to make it simple, so we could find just the timers for Certbot. And let's press enter, and there we go. So we got a service right there, and it's set up for us, so we are good to go. We actually have it, but you could do a dry run of actually renewing your certification or your certificate by typing sudo certbot and then renew and then -dry-run. I believe that's how you do it. Yeah, there we go. And so it's going to go through and fake a renewal of the cert for jelly.kit pro or KeepItTechie.com just to see if it can get it, and boom. And it's still talking about those unsafe permissions. Like I said, I'm gonna delete this crap off of here. So if you guys do get into one of my systems, you can't find that API key to my Cloudflare server. But anyway, once this finishes, like I said, it simulates the renewal and reload of Nginx automatically for that actual domain. And it'll do it for all of them. So if you have multiple hosts, and like I told you guys a while back, earlier in the video, I was gonna do 2 virtual hosts. Really, all you had to do is add another configuration file in there, and that'll be your virtual host. So I'm not gonna make the video any more longer than it has to be. That pretty much covers everything for it. And then also, let me show you guys, since we're in the terminal, I have some of these commands written out. So in case you need to troubleshoot, you can check out your logs for both. Like I just pulled up both logs. All right, so today we set up advanced reverse proxy on Ubuntu 24.04, added TLS forward headers, multi-site, and actually we didn't get to the multi-site, but we'll get to that next time. I'll show you guys how to set up virtual hosts on Nginx. I actually got a video out there for it, but I think it's for 22.04. You guys can check it out. It's pretty much the same. I'll do one for 24.04 just so it'll renew in the algorithm, so you guys can find it and see how to actually do it on the latest version of Ubuntu. And I also did a little hardening that won't wreck Jellyfin's streaming and all that stuff. And I also showed you guys how to set up that Cloudflare Tunnel, which took us a minute. You know what I'm saying? It's a safe alternative for running one of these servers like this or hosting something from your house. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, I know Cox is one of the biggest offenders. They block port 80 for home use. Also, you can't use 443, so they block that too. And then in order to get a certificate, you have to have port 80 open in order to renew the cert as well as get the cert. So yeah, they kind of screw you if you want to host something at your house, which they need to, that rule I think was created back in the 90s. They need to go down and let that go. You know what I'm saying? During the .com boom, that's when that rule was set out in Cox Communications, or in the early 2000s when internet started speeding up. They put those rules in where you couldn't host things from your home network, which in my opinion, they shouldn't put a block on my internet connection. I'm paying you for the internet. Give me unfiltered, unfeathered internet connected to my house. I don't have to worry about ports being blocked and all that stuff. Just give me all my ports. Give me everything I need that I'm paying you guys for, which is unfiltered internet. But anyway, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to find a breakpoint in this video and probably split it up into 2 of its own videos. And that's so I can tighten the runtime, because I know this thing is gonna be long. But if this helped, go down and drop a like. And if you're new here, subscribe for more Linux and home lab content. I'm Josh from KeepItTechie, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace. Yo, what's up, y'all? Listen, if you've been sitting there thinking about making a move, let me tell you, tech is where it's at. I don't care where you coming from, whether you've got a degree, a GED, or just pure hustle. There's room for you in this game. You see, tech is more than just keyboards and code. It's solving problems, creating opportunities, and building the future. You already have what it takes, because tech doesn't care where you start. It cares where you're willing to go. You can teach yourself Linux, learn Python, break into cybersecurity, or even launch your own app. And the resources are out here for free. And yes, you heard me, free. Now, yeah, it's gonna take effort. You'll have to grind, but think about this. The time is gonna pass anyway. So why not invest it in a skill that'll change your life? I mean, tech doesn't just pay the bills, it opens doors to freedom, stability, and generational wealth. So stop doubting yourself. Start small, stay consistent, and keep building. Because this isn't just a career, it's a movement. And guess what? You belong here. So let's get it, because the future is yours to build. Keep it techie.